traveling to work. The opposition charges that this bill puts foreigners first and not Bahamians, but the government believes this will open the door to new sectors, therefore providing new jobs for Bahamians. A closer look tonight at the bill and whether Bahamians truly will benefit. Beyond the Headlines starts now. The government says the new amendments to the immigration bill will benefit Bahamians, but the opposition doesn't believe that, saying it puts foreigners first. Good evening, everyone. I'm Clint Watson, and welcome to the show tonight. It's no surprise the government and the opposition are on different sides with the amendments to the immigration bill. Last week, we began looking at the bill. My guest broke down the particulars and explained why their party is either supporting or opposing it. We want to continue our discussion tonight. Please welcome those guests back again. Member of Parliament for Tall Pines and Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly, Don Saunders, and Vice Chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party, Mr. Opie Roberts. Welcome back, gentlemen.
It's nice to be back.
I want to pick up where we left off because obviously it's so important with this bill. And I want to begin with you, Mr. Saunders, because I think it's important to give people as much information as they possibly can have surrounding this bill. What in your view, are the highlights that benefit Bahamians with this new immigration amendment?
I think there are several benefits. I just want to reiterate the fact that these particular amendments really came into place because of the policies or the commercial enterprise bill. That's now an act that was put in place to really help Grand Bahama become a technological hub for the region, and that particular act now causes or speaks to the companies being able to bring individuals in certain areas that we don't have in existence in the Bahamas, or certain industries that we don't have in the Bahamas today, or sectors of the industries, like we talked about maritime last week, and you made the note that we have the maritime industry, but there are certain sectors, specialized sectors in the maritime industry, certain sectors in the financial service industry, and mostly sectors in biotechnology and in technology in general. So in order to be able to facilitate persons coming into the Bahamas, and as you would know, and I don't think my good friend Obi would disagree with me, we've always had great challenge with immigration in terms of persons coming in, and not only for persons coming in to do high-end business, but to do any type of business. Now, let me reiterate also that the F&M government, we guard our immigration policy, we guard our right to citizenship, etc., jealously, like any government would do. And so we are very cognizant when we look, and we're very careful when we look at immigration amendments. But these amendments speak to introducing new visas and a permit to the immigration amendments to the immigration bill, namely the HB-1B work visa and the BH-4S permit, and there's a short-term visa. As we discussed last week, the BH-1B visa is issued only after, and this is very important to understand, the company that's coming involved in a new industry, they must have already gotten a certificate from the investment board and from the relevant government agencies before they could even make that application. And that certificate has to be approved. And when you get the certificate, you would have already gone through a process to show that your company would have passed the criteria as per the Commercial Enterprise Act, being a new company that's not involved in the Bahamas right now, that you would have met the criteria in terms of, and that particular act, I want to stress, is one of the only acts or statutes that makes it automatic or makes it mandatory that you have to show a plan to the Bahamian government, and to show a plan that not only that your business is going to do well, but also that a plan that you're going to be able to educate or train a Bahamian within a 3-year plan, a 3-year process. Now, only after you'll be able to submit that plan, pass that through the committee or the investment board, etc., then you get your certificate. And then the persons would be able to apply to the immigration department to either get the BH-1B visa, 3 years, and then you might be able to extend it for an additional 3 years. The other permit is one where the wife or spouse of the individual, I shouldn't say the wife or husband, or the spouse is able to come in, and the children or dependents, and persons coming in for educational purposes. Now, those persons, just as it is today, cannot engage in gainful employment, right? They cannot engage in gainful employment. The second one would be, and we discussed this last week, and this is one that's more controversial. My friend said that lawyers, so we have one where you have a short-term permit, where a short-term visa, which I said it already kind of exists in the Bahamas, because we have persons coming in and getting these short-term visas. But this one is specific to the commercial enterprise bill. They could come and you have, yes, we do have attorneys. Yes, we do have accountants, I think accountants. We do have consultants and certain other areas. The executive teams may be able to come in, and they only come in for a very short term. Not to engage in day-to-day operations and business in the Bahamas. So a lawyer would not come in from New York or Silicon Valley to engage and give advice in Bahamian law. An accountant would not come in to do the audit for that company. Those persons come in on a very short-term basis, and they have 14 days, it's a 14-day period, and then they must leave.
And again,
or they only get the 2 minutes for 14
And again, I asked you about the enforcement aspect of that, because the law will state that, but how do we police to ensure who's coming in actually leaves within this required time?
One of the good things that's going on, we're engaging in revamping and modernizing not only this aspect of the immigration statutes, but we're looking at the entire act and the whole immigration regime. And so we have now been going on computerizing the immigration system, modernizing the system. And so immigration officers, for example, will be able to police more effectively at the borders when persons come in. Now, I understand that persons, and they rightfully have to be concerned about whether or not this will be abused. But I have confidence in our immigration officers. I have confidence in our immigration department. I have confidence in the ministry and the government of the Bahamas that just like any other country that's going to introduce similar policies, have to be careful about policing, we're going to do the same thing. The last point I want to make before I allow Amobi to speak on this is a very important time and we could take advantage, because in the United States there's something called the H-1B visa. That the United States, similar to what we're trying to do here, they issue this visa to persons in tech companies and other industries with high profile, high educated individuals coming in for a short period of time. And the United States is cracking down a bit on that. You might say, why are they cracking down on it? I'm not getting to that right now. But the issue is that we have an opportunity. Grand Bahama is only about 50-something miles away from Florida. We have an opportunity to strategically position in the region to take advantage of that. So those companies, for example, that may have wanted to go to Florida, may have wanted to go to the East Coast of the United States, or anywhere in the United States, and because they're tightening their regime in that regard, we could take advantage of that. And so that advice came not from the Bahamian government only, Persons, when we had these tech conferences in Grand Bahama, we had a lot of Bahamians and Google and other major companies in the United States and Canada came, and they joined with Bahamians. And the committee advised us and gave us recommendations. And one of the recommendations was that we should take advantage of this opportunity and to be able to introduce these types of visas. So we're taking advice from the professionals in the industry. And this is a way that we're positioning Grand Bahama, not only to become a tourism mecca again, but to become a technological hub.
Let me ask you, because you say
Bahama.
that a lot of the advice that you're taking and following are from these professionals.
Like that.
This tech hub, this tech summit really just took place last year, and already we are seeing legislation months later being handcrafted based on their advice. So if we are taking advice from these companies, are there any guarantees, first of all, that once these legislation is in place, they are going to bring their businesses, or is this just a suggestion for them? Do we have data that will say that they, as a result of this, they will now say, okay, we will form partnerships with you? And if we're so quick to bring legislation that foreigners advise in months, why aren't we doing the same thing for Bahamians who advise that there's some things that they want to see in place for the ease of business for Bahamians, but it takes us sometimes years to see those in place? How can we move so quickly?
I like that. I like those.
No, I'll say this. I'm not saying that they feed us just to be just took. Obviously, we got involved in engagement and making that decision. Bahamian government, this government, we don't just take advice. We really just take it. We engaged in it and we decided this is the best way moving forward. But the important point is that we engage in getting information and the expertise from persons who are in the industry. If you look at the Commercial Enterprise Bill, there was a necessity for us to take the necessary steps in any event But I'm saying that we were able to work with the industry leaders and to come to conclusion as to what was the best way forward. And the best way forward with these amendments, where it was in order to make to bring us up on the chart in terms of ease of doing business.
We're going to pause right there. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to allow
and other places,
Mr. Roberts to respond to that. Thank you so much. Stay close. You're watching me on the headlines. We're back right after this.
Hello, I'm Gershon Major, CEO of the Bahamas Gaming Operators Association. Are you or a loved one suffering from a gambling addiction? Do you find yourself more often than not having to choose between your daily expenses and this form of entertainment? If you've answered yes to these questions, we are here to help. At the BGOA, our doors are always open. There are several mechanisms in place to protect you as a player as part of our industry's responsible gaming program. If you find yourself or someone you know slipping through the cracks, please come in and visit us at number 41 Top of the Hill Mackey Street for an assessment, immediate assistance, or professional intervention at no cost to you. Remember, it's only a game, so please do so responsibly. For more information, please contact us at 603-2083. Visit our website at bgoabahamas.com or call our hotline at 808-9509.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. We are talking more in detail about the immigration bill, which we started a conversation last week with my guest, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly, a Member of Parliament for Tall Pines, Mr. Don Sanders, and of course, Obi Roberts, who is the Vice Chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party. We're talking about this bill and trying to bring greater awareness and understanding to it so that you understand what the bill is all about and how it benefits, how it doesn't benefit, all of the parameters of that. I want to give Mr. Roberts a chance to respond to our colleague and what he had to say in the presentation of how this bill would benefit Bahamians.
Well, okay, Clint, what I wanted to do is basically bring it all the way back to the beginning and give you the concept of where the H-1B visa that included the immigration bill was born out of. It was born out of a making in Grand Bahama for a tech hub and tech center in the Bahamas. The committee was initially chaired by Mr. Donovan Moxey that proposed that all persons that the United States had denied give them H-1 visas to create this tech hub in the Bahamas. And this is what I find very interesting, that the United States rejected them. But why are we accepting them and opening our borders for them to come and open their companies? The question I would like to ask, how do we know that this is not a pie-in-the-sky idea based on these people's visas that were ejected by the United States? The next question I'd like to ask, why do we automatically go after these persons who were ejected? The next question I'd like to ask, the F&M government also projected that there would be some uplift and direct economic impact to the Grand Bahama economy. There has been no consultation, no studies, no economic tests, no feasibility studies, et cetera, et cetera. So where do they come up with this data from? These are the questions that we would like to ask and want to know these answers primary to this, because we touched on this on the last show, Clint, where GIBC Digital Company had opened their doors, and then within less than a year, they had to lay off half of their staff. So when Mr. Sanders indicated that they wanted to create a tech hub or a tech center in Grand Bahama, and then also partner with Bahamians or educate Bahamians, that doesn't seem to be the case with GIBC Digital, which basically didn't seem to do their homework.
He's building his argument.
No, but it is a fact.
One company is having challenges.
It's the first one it's the first one who
there are several companies.
You cut your teeth with this company. That is supposed to be the standard.
Clint,
I allow him to speak, Clint. I allow him to speak, Clint. All I'm saying is,
no,
but that's a fact. It doesn't breed confidence either.
There's several other companies
who are doing well,
and who's going to develop even better.
But this is a company that basically lay off Grand Bahamians.
Right.
When they need employment at its greatest right now. Grand Bahama is a ghost town right now. Okay? And we have many Grand Bahamians who've been migrating from Grand Bahama to Nassau, to Bimini, to other family islands where the economy is a little bit much more stronger than it is in Grand Bahama. So we want to know where's the data that this government, the F&M government has come from, that this will create some economic boom in Grand Bahama. Because what we saw from GIBC doesn't resonate any confidence with us, and doesn't resonate any confidence with persons in Grand Bahama.
That's not what I'm hearing on the ground. I'm hearing the Grand Bahamians are very excited about this. There's at least been two international conferences in Grand Bahama, and the committee continues to educate, continues to grow. There are several other companies in Grand Bahama doing well. We know that this company, JIBC, or whatever the name of the company is.
What's the name of the other company?
They haven't been as successful as we would want them to be. But at the end of the day, they've been there for about a year or so. You have Grand Bahamians who are trained in this new industry. Grand Bahamians, at least, worst case scenario, Clint, those persons they were working. They're now trained in a different area. So as these other companies, there's about 7 or 8 or 9 other companies, they could transfer that skill to those companies. They could even transfer those skills in the local community. All right. So the fact that if OB and the PLP want to base this whole argument on the fact that one company,
where they get this data from, Glenn? We want to know where they get the data from.
Let me address one of the companies.
Where's the economic boom that we're looking for?
I don't know where Obi is getting his information about 1 or 2 persons or whatever. These people came to Grand Bahama and sold this idea to us.
Clint,
the reality,
they were rejected.
The reality is
they were rejected in the United States.
The reality is this. The reality is this. We wanted to create new industry, and we wanted to do something for Grand Bahama. Now, it's always important to remember, not everybody who applies for this certificate is going to get it. They have to go through a process. I said it earlier. They have to present a plan, and the plan has to be accepted by the Bahamian government. The director of immigration.
They presented that plan, Clint.
The director of immigration, the Department of Immigration, still has an obligation to do its due diligence, which the Act makes provisions for in any event. So that their permit can still be rejected for security issues and other issues. So we're not willy-nilly accepting everybody. This is an opportunity. This is an opportunity that we're trying to do something for Grand Bahama, and I'm sad to hear. OB and the PLP. When a new idea come in, they want to knock it down. Grand Bahama is now seeing a better future.
It's not knocking it down, Clint.
You're basing your argument on one company.
Yes, that is the cornerstone of your commercial enterprise bill. If a company opens its doors in less than 12 months, that you have to lay off half of your staff, which all of them, I understand, that they lay off is Bahamians. It's Bahamians. So what confidence is that you're going to exude to the Bahamian people, particularly the Grand Bahamians, that this is actually a successful idea?
I think it's important to find out, and you can probably help us on that. Are we finding out, particularly in Grand Bahama, that the issue is the having access by immigration? Is that the stumbling block, or is it really the economy, the high taxes, the driving the businesses to be able to give these companies new business?
High petroleum costs.
My thing is, are we focusing on the right thing that's causing these businesses to go down? Are they not thriving because immigration laws are too difficult, and so this relaxing of or making it easier doing business through immigration, is that going to solve the problem, or are there other factors? Because I'm thinking with GIBC, the issue wasn't getting visas and immigration. The issue was them being able to survive and do business in a cost where there are high overhead costs. How are you going to reduce that as a government to make it easier to do business?
These are all issues that we're aware of. And these are all issues that the Bahamas government, this F&M government, we're trying to address. But at the same time, this is a great opportunity for us to build new industry.
I asked the last time
we are working every day. We're working every day to make sure energy. We're putting infrastructure in Grand Bahama and other family islands.
In the Caribbean.
That doesn't mean that we shouldn't do it. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't do it.
We already know our cost of living is very high.
You want to quit because it doesn't get $65?
There's a winner every 90 seconds in our all-new Lotto Roulette Live. Our one-ball game is an interactive casino-style game revamped with a twist for all your wants and needs. Watch and bet on your number, color, evens, odds, first half, last half, and so much more ways to win. From 00 to 36, wager on your favorite casino game, Roulette, now in a more interactive, fun way live. Visit islandluck.com or come into any of our locations for more information. Our balls have just gotten bigger at Island Luck. Winners live here.
Welcome back. We are wrapping up our discussion talking about the immigration bill and how it will advance business and advance the cause of doing business. I wanted to get back to a point you made, and I think it was the previous show, about the fact that it will provide opportunities for new industries. Talk a little bit more about that.
Yes, let me just name some of the industries. These new captive insurance, reassurance, mutual fund administration, arbitration, wealth management, international arbitration, nanotechnology, biomedical industries, aviation approved maintenance operations, aviation registration, call centers, etc. Now, and Obi raised a point about what other companies that are benefiting from it, but I'll be able to name them in a few minutes, right? But I'm trying to say this. Remember now, the Commercial Enterprises Act isn't only geared towards foreigners. I made the point that Bahamians could get involved.
At $250,000.
Bahamians could get involved.
The average man can get involved with that. At $250,000, the average Bahamian man in this economic climate, you're saying,
there are industries. We cannot only let's be smart about this. We cannot only introduce
the average Bahamian man cannot afford $250,000 to get into the and benefit from the commercial enterprise.
We cannot only focus on the mom and pop shops in order to build economies. I respect the mom and pop shops, but there are industries, and I named some of them, that need funds. And there are Bahamians who have the smarts, the smarts to partner with each other.
But the small man doesn't benefit.
The small man is getting educated. The small man is getting jobs. The small man is going to live in an economy from these types of industries. We cannot depend on tourism. And that's what Obi wants us to focus on all day.
No, that is the wrong direction to go with that.
Bahama. You cannot give them the people of the
Bahamas.
Bahamas.
Never give the people of Grand Bahama.
This is a new opportunity.
But at the expense, allowing outsiders to develop our country and take away jobs that the Bahamians can do. You created an act that is beyond the threshold for the average Bahamian to afford to invest in. They can't. That is a fact.
Let me ask you, Obi, what does the Progressive Party propose to be able to spur the economy and to get Bahamians employed and working? What do you propose?
Well, okay. What we have done. Hold on. This is what we were doing. Remember before we demitted office, when we lost in May 10, 2017, we had signed a deal in Eastern Grand Bahama, okay, with Carnival Cruise Line, which these individuals are now, they put the brakes on it, and then now they re-engaged and brought the development into Freeport. That was one of the investments. We did a lot of infrastructural work in Grand Bahama over the last 5 years. We created the Ministry of Grand Bahama. We had portable water. First time in Eastern and Western Grand Bahama. Infrastructure works, which we did the Fishing Hole Road. Clint, all of these things that we were doing to rebuild Grand Bahama. Okay? The reason we was able, Clint, to get that deal done in Eastern Grand Bahama, because you couldn't get an improvement of any major deal unless we went through Hutchison Whampoa. And that was a part of the agreement. It was a long, lengthy process by Perry Christie, by Obi Wilson, by Sebastian Bethel, and Allison Maynard Gibson for that to happen. And that's why you didn't see any major developments taking place in Grand Bahama over the last 15 plus years. Because Hutchison Whampoa had the authority to approve or not approve any major developments of that nature. That's the reason why.
I can sit here.
Ask him if I'm wrong.
I can sit here and say they had 5 years to make some things happen in Grand
Ask him
Bahama,
if I'm wrong,
and they failed. And we didn't put that. The company speaking about is doing some stuff in Grand Bahama now. But let me name some of the other companies. Global United, Agri and Enterprise Development Limited, Bahama Global Harvest Limited, Dev Digital Bahamas, GB Bio Phenomena. Now there are several companies. That's a list. That's a few.
In Grand Bahama.
In Grand Bahama now taking advantage of this, right?
How many people are employed?
Right? I don't know the numbers. The point of the matter is that this is only there are only been a couple of months. The point I'm trying to make is this. In order to build industry, in order to build the capacity to do certain things, and the permits are only going to be given the persons we don't have in the Bahamas could do these jobs. Okay. So we're not going to give a computer programmer that we have hundreds of Bahamians coming out of school every year.
So these visas are
special permits.
Also specialty
areas. Right? They come in. They have to pass the test in order to get.
Can they police this? Can they police this properly?
Give us a chance first. Do not give up on the Bahamian immigration officers. Do not give up on the Bahamian immigration department.
The Free National Movement government is who we don't have no confidence in. Dr. Hubert Minnis in 2017
giving up on Grand Bahamians,
said he told all
giving
illegal immigrants, you have by December 31st of 2017 to leave.
You're
No
giving
such
up-
thing.
you're giving up on Grand
all
Bahama.
of us lip service. So you expect for him now to police this with more wealthy, affluent individuals in this country
PLP
who
had
have the
5 years.
means.
The PLP had 5 years in Grand Bahama, created a ministry of Grand
fantastic
Bahama,
things.
and did nothing. God voted out 5
No,
seats.
no,
You cannot
no.
fit
Is
in
it
call,
safe
we're
to say
creating a new
that? Is it safe to say that
industry.
the key to this new law, if it's passed, will be enforcement and be able to keep check? Can we say that's a key
Definitely.
factor?
It is, and the
A key
minister
factor.
and the minister spoke to
And
it
the people
at
have no
great
confidence in
length.
that.
We are going to put serious
no
effort on
confidence in that.
policing with the new computerized system. What
Clint.
we plan to do?
Clint.
What we plan to do?
This is
is
the same
bring
Minister
us-
of Immigration,
bring
which
us
we have
into the new world of immigration policy.
Sloop
The
ships
PLP
that
wants us
comes
to live.
all the way from
The
the
PLP
south
wants us to
into
live in the
Nassau.
past and continue.
We gotta
You can't
go.
police our immigration. You can't
We gotta
police our
go.
borders.
Gentlemen, thank you
Stop
for
giving
No,
We
you
gotta
don't
go.
put police
Stop
in. We have
giving
to
up
give
on the
little
Grand
princess.
tomorrow.
Alright?
Tomorrow,
Don't give up
we're
on
going to
the
continue
giving up
this.
on Grand
We're going to
Bahamians.
talk about
Giving up on the
politics, the
government.
PLP
No.
versus the FNM. As the FNM, the
in the
government
people.
celebrates its anniversary in office. These gentlemen will be back here tomorrow to talk about the PLP versus the FNM and their policies. We'll be back for another heated discussion tomorrow. That's our show. Thanks for joining us. Good night.